VT PreciseOrb Novice. Okay, so for this type of scenario, okay, so how to play this scenario? Well, the first thing is you start your mouse, depending if you're an arm or fingertip aimer, further down your mouse pad and fully retracted. So you actually, because the scenario starts always at the lowest point, and then it only goes up. So you want to have space to actually go up, right? Then, so the next thing is that you always look onto the target. Don't look at the cursor, look at the target and try to copy the movement of the target onto your mousepad. Just move your hand in the same way that the cursor, that the target moves. And as you can see, copying this movement is kind of not error-free. You will have errors where your cursor will not stay on the target. There are some variations, some shakiness, some things going on, and that is fine. Still kind of just as a second step, focus on the on copying the movement onto your hand. Like the differences, don't compare your cursor position to target position and try to always just flick on the target, but really copy the movement, understand the movement, and do the same movement with your hand as you see on the screen. Like if you see the orb and you see my mousepad below it, it should just look exactly the same what it's doing, regardless of if my cursor is on the target or not. Why is it important? Well, because understanding where your cursor is compared to the target and what motion it does is trivial if you actually copy the motion. Like imagine this is static target clicking and your target has this size and this distance to your cursor. How difficult is it to hit it? It's kind of laughable easy, right? It's like the easy version of multi-click Novice. It's a huge target, it's a very small distance, of course you hit this shot. Compared to if you can just always keep moving erratically and try to compensate and so on, then it's kind of hard to understand where your cursor is compared to the target, and you don't know even which direction to flick. Like how do you supposed to see where you want to go if it looks like this? Try to really have a smooth copy of the movement onto your hand. Second step. Then third step is actually correct the distance and try to actually land on the target sometimes. Now this is a little bit interesting because you want to have it like a target switch skill where you flick on the target and then continue to move to copy the movement of the target. So this should not be correct, but really just correct one and then continue to copy the movement of the target, which means you actually need to understand the current movement of the target. It means like you have a prediction of what it will do in the next second. And this prediction is very easy in this scenario. It's kind of not changing too much, right? So it's kind of easy to predict where it will be, what it will do in the next upcoming seconds, unless it's in the lower fifths of the portion. Like up here, it should be kind of trivial to land close with your prediction to where it should be. And now if you combine both skills, the copying of the movement and your prediction with the flicking, you kind of get high uptime on the target. That's basically what you want. Now, for this scenario, I want to add that you kind of need to decide if you want to go for a rather low speed, or something like 50 maybe. Then you do the complete motion with your hand. Because you're maybe a palm grip aimer, then you just do the complete motion with your hand. Or maybe because they're claw grip, then you also do the entire motion with your hand. You have no finger motion there at all. Or you're kind of like a fingertip aimer, then you would want to go somewhere below 30, so maybe 20, maybe 30, maybe 35. I don't know, depends on your situation. And then you can do the entire up and down motion with your fingers alone. And of course, if you are a claw grip aimer that still kinda uses some motion with your fingers, then you can actually go even faster than that, even go to something like 10 centimeters. And to really use your fingers together with your claw grip. Because then in reality, if you then play claw grip in a like 40 centimeter setting, then this motion just then here in this scenario you can move like this, but if you slow down by 4 times, then this change will adjust this height difference, which you will then maybe still do with your fingers, even in claw grip. With mouse, you can even not see too much of movement, so it's like pushing the mouse a little bit into your palm grip. So really decide on which sensitivity you use for this scenario. Like, I suggest to actually do the benchmark, also later the training for the sensitivity you actually need in game. Now let's do something, a middle ground. So I need some arm movement, some fingertip movement, and let's talk about common mistakes. So common mistakes is that you kind of shake left, right too much. And I suggest to really try to slow down and do the minimum movement to really eliminate any shakiness on the left and right. Another mistake we already touched briefly is kind of like always over-flicking and then overcompensating. And it's basically the same thing. Try to not only flick into the target. Don't look at your crosshair and compare to position to the target. Don't make it a click and snare, but really copy the movement of the target and then flick once. Then, if you are a beginner, you might have difficulty to actually stay on target. Focus first on really be on target when it's on the upper level, and then try to track it down as fast as possible, as long as possible. And then when it goes up, you start tracking up again. And the lower part of the movement, you just predict. So it's like closing your eyes and make like whoop whoop, and then you continue tracking, whoop whoop, continue tracking. And this prediction also kind of improves. But focus on tracking on the upper part first, and then increase the distance that you can actually track. So maybe you can track only the upper third, and then you increase that you can track the upper half, and then you improve that you can track the 2/3, upper 2/3, and you can improve that you can, and so on. You get the picture. So in the very bottom position, you can still kind of then lose tracking, and that's fine. Just try to keep it in the upper parts as long as possible, basically. That's what I want to say. Keep it clean in the upper parts. In the lower parts, you will fall off, and then just reflick on the target and keep the upper parts consistently. Now, additionally, I want to add that this scenario specifically kind of keeps the direction moving in one direction for a very long time. Try to still use your entire mousepad and don't reset too early. Like now I'm very close to my keyboard, really use the space and it switched. I didn't need to reset, perfect. Even though I got really to the edge of my mousepad, I still kept with it, and that's a part of training you want to have. You want to be able to practice up and down motion on every portion of your mousepad. Don't kind of reset every time it gets a little bit uncomfortable. Like now it's the center, now it's reset, now reset, now, and this is bad, because then you train to only use the center mousepad and you're resetting too often. Try to really keep on the target and use also the outer edges of your mousepad. Until you are really forced to switch, until you're really forced to reset. Now here I was a little bit too fast, I can slow down a little bit more. Yeah, so if you are over flicking, if you're too shaky, try to slow down. If you are tracking perfectly but you're trailing behind, make a little bit more faster flicks onto the target in between. Like just add this, these are two different motions, and use them both at the correct time. This is basically the sentence. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it a little bit. If you liked it, leave a comment. If you have questions, leave a comment. Feel free to also ask me on stream. Join me, I'm streaming on Twitch. I'm glad about every viewer. I'm playing mostly Overwatch 2 hit scans. So aim training is applied most. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.